Give me the argument, the best argument you know, for the power of cinema.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Peliculas with the Bros. My name is Adrian.
My name is Ivan.
And if you're watching, first-time watcher, first-time listener, please don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the follow button wherever you're at. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumb up button. That way we can algorithm it to the top. You know what I mean?
Game the system.
Game the system. Also, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this upcoming episode that we're about to do. And or just give us a shout out and we'll shout you out too. Ivan, how are you doing?
Dandy.
How's your week been so far? Today is Wednesday, July 8th? 7th. July 7th.
Yeah.
How's the week going for you so far? What'd you do? Work?
I worked. I played.
What'd you play?
Work hard, play hard.
What'd you playing?
Life.
What'd you playing, huh? No, seriously, what are you playing?
No, not play. Just like, I don't know. I guess I'm not playing.
Okay, you're not playing. You are working.
You
What else are you
pressured
doing
me
on your
into-
free time?
I
I know these aren't the questions that you're usually used to, but I'm making you answer them today.
You're putting me on the spot is what you're doing.
Honestly, it's a small talk, and you can small talk it out of it.
Well, I've been watching a few movies here and there, just
There we go.
seeing what I like, taking my mind off things, just living life on the edge.
You added on the edge when you didn't really need to.
That's the point of small talk, isn't it?
You could add on the edge.
That's a reference to something, but I don't remember what.
Isn't everything a reference to something, but you don't remember what? If we spend our time looking back on the things that we do.
Like you learn language from others. So everything I've ever heard and learned is just a reference from like a book. Like this conversation I've taken out from like the dictionary. I'm just a reference. I'm not a person.
You are literally not unique at all.
Yeah.
And that's how it is for most things. It's one of the things I like most about life and hate most about life, that you look at someone, let me take someone for example, Young Thug, and you say, wow, this person's really unique. But then if you just take apart their style, you noticed all the fathers of their style.
I saw this TikTok of David Grohl. He was explaining where he got his sound to Pharrell. You know Pharrell, right?
He's honestly, Pharrell, come on, let's go.
Well, he was saying like all his drum stuff on like Nirvana, all the things he's done, like he stole it straight from disco. Like straight stole. And he was saying like, yeah, I stole it.
Yeah.
And he met like the dude who he stole from. He's like, you're my inspiration. If it wasn't for you, I'd be nothing. He's like, I know. I was like, whoa.
I listened to Questlove from The Roots. He's the drummer of The Roots. He has a podcast. It's really good. He interviews musicians and other famous artists. And he was interviewing Just Blaze.
Just Blaze?
Glad you know that. You're like one of the guys that wouldn't know that.
That's rude.
It is, but it's true.
He's like Kendrick guy, isn't he? He's like Kendrick's right hand little boy.
Just Blaze?
His little manager boy. His little.
Are you being serious right now?
Little pipsqueak.
You're being serious?
No, I know. I just know him from songs.
That's what I'm talking about. This is exactly why I bully you to this position right now. Anyways,
Just Blaze?
He was interviewing Just Blaze, and they do this game. I think he does it with other producers, but he's like, I'm going to play you, I think it's a drum pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to guess the original song it's from.
Okay.
And literally, it's like the drum pattern that he plays is psh, or ba-dum. And then he's like, oh, that's, and then what Just Blaze does, he hears it, he's like, oh, that's, and he starts beatboxing it in his head to remember. He's like, boop, ah, boop, oh yeah, it's Jackson 5. And he does that for like 10 songs. And it's literally psst, like, okay, next song. Next song. Not even that. That's even too much. Isn't that disgustingly weird?
I can do that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but you can kind of do that with not like a drum thing, but with just like a millisecond of the biggest Drake song ever. Like
You would think you could.
You could.
But the amount he played is like literally nothing.
But when it's your job, you're gonna get that talent.
Sure, yes, anything. You could say that about anything, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how the resource he has, because like it's not a song that I made it seem simple where I said Jackson 5, but it was like something obscure that 98% of the people don't know about.
Right.
That's amazing. Shout out to Questlove. That's an amazing interview you did with Just Blaze. It was crazy. For me, in my life, thank you for asking, Ivan. The things that I've been doing the past week is sort of reevaluating my current state. We've had a talk in the last podcast where we talked about me sort of being sidetracked and always wanting entertainment in my life.
Okay.
We were talking about podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Like I always have to listen to podcasts. And I really took to heart what you said where you just said, boop, stop it. And I've been trying to boop, stop it, but it's not that easy.
What?
But I am doing better at it. I'm trying to be more conscious of the things I do. It's something that like I always tell myself, almost like a New Year's resolution. I always try to do it and then I forget about it. I'm trying to reacclimate myself. So that's been going good. I got a book. Can you see that cover right there?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you know what book that is?
Good luck. That's all I can say.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
I'm 120 in. After
You crazy man.
After 2 days. The book I'm
Okay.
talking about is Dune.
Okay.
After I finish it, I want to watch John Lynch's movie, Dune.
David?
David Lynch, sorry. David Lynch's movie, Dune.
I haven't seen it.
And then I'll be ready for the next.
The real Dune.
What's his name? Director?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. So I'm excited for that. And I'm happy I'm reading.
Period.
And then another thing you said, and this has been sitting on my mind for so long, and it
Rent free, some would say.
disgustingly rent free. I should pay you or something. Anyways, you told me one time, a couple podcasts ago, I don't know, you were saying you need to get on TikTok because it's sort of what's your reason? Before I say
It's the pulse of the culture. It's where people are at. Where culture's at right now.
And you've also said it's like, oh, okay, this is your thing. You said that it's more real than Instagram.
Oh yeah.
I want to push back against that. I was watching, and it sort of, I already knew this, but it was sort of cemented when I watched this video. It was Chris D'Elia, comedian. He parodied this TikToker who made a TikTok video of himself saying, "You have to be silly sometimes," and then he makes like a silly face.
Does it go like that?
I don't remember,
Oh.
but he makes a silly face and then he laughs, and then he makes another silly face. He's like,
Yeah.
and then D'Elia's like, he makes a silly face, like a stupid face, like to make fun of him, and he's like, basically saying like, and then his thing is, Chris D'Elia's thing is, and he talked about it in his podcast. He said, people are just making faces, like white people are just making faces on TikTok and getting rich and getting views. And if you saw the video that I saw of the guy making faces and laughing, you could tell it was so ingenuine. I mean, it wasn't so ingenuine, but you know he wasn't really laughing at himself making dumb faces.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the video.
Okay. Now, to add upon that, the amount, and I've been the reason I know this is because I've been doing it. I've been making TikTok videos for us to share for on a TikTok, and I've realized that the amount of editing people actually do on TikTok is disgusting to make it actually look good, right? And that just makes me think it's never going to be real. There's never going to be something that someone puts out on social media that is honesty 100%. There's always going to be some kind of edit.
Okay.
And I just think that, yes, TikTok is probably where most of the culture is now, as well as Instagram. And Instagram is waning off, maybe coming back up with Reels. But my main thing is it's not as... Both of them are fake. Everything's fake.
Yeah.
So do you take back
No.
So why is it more real than Instagram?
I just see Instagram as more of a snapshot of your best moments. Snapshot of your best moments, but TikTok, you do get what you said of people being fake for the views, but there's so many people who did what Chris did and make fun of him too, and that's slightly more real.
Yep.
Like those really fake people get pretty big just like ironically because people like it, so everyone can make fun of them too.
True.
But there's also people who just like, oh, he's right, like, you know, and he is right. Like, you got to be a little silly. So,
but it's also like the motivational quotes that you would see on Instagram back in the day, where it's like, work hard, play harder.
Yeah.
Like the little not captions, but photos people would post of the
cliches.
What? Cliches, yeah. And it's like, yeah, obviously you got to be silly sometimes. But do you need to make a TikTok video explaining to make like just I don't know. It sort of left this mark on me that I'm like, TikTok, Instagram is the same thing. It's not, one is not more real than the other.
Wrong. Yeah, you're wrong.
I know I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
How?
What do you mean how?
How is one more real than the other?
Because you could just naturally come upon whoever you see and they're just doing whatever often. And it's not like, I don't know.
But you can do the same thing on Instagram.
But people, I don't think as often on Instagram, they just do like a random recording of whatever they're doing and then something weird happens.
I don't think it's as random as you think on TikTok.
You think it's all staged?
I think most of it's staged.
Mm.
I'm sure there's videos that you're thinking about right now where it's like, yeah, there's this random thing happening in real life.
Well, like, it is kind of staged in that, like, they're doing like a skit. Like, there was this one skit where, like, a girl, she's like, oh, I heard salt lamps are salty if you lick them. And she, like, acts normal, and then she goes up to him, like, licks it violently. And she's like, oh, yeah, it is salty. And that's fake.
Right.
But it's real because that's her personality, her humor type.
But can't you do the same thing on Instagram?
But I don't really see that. You don't see, like, that kind of...
You do on the reel section. You're just not there.
But real is TikTok.
Yeah. But I'm saying neither one of them is more real than the other.
Well, if you include real, then I guess it kind of cancels out.
Okay.
I was talking more about like traditional Instagram.
Gotcha. The scrolling feed, following someone and seeing their stuff. Yeah, I see that. That ability to stumble upon a random person's profile is pretty powerful. I don't know if that's always going to be there.
Well, just random people?
Because I think the randomness of it in the beginning is so that you can see all this different type of content that's being created, right?
Uh-huh.
And then once you gain enough, or once you follow enough people, they're like, okay, we don't need the randomness. You already have your curated list of what you like. Here's all their reels.
But I don't follow people.
Right.
I just like things, and then like eventually my
Feed shows it.
shows like the theme of it.
Right.
Like I only follow people that are like they have like very consistent content of what they're trying to produce, but not like the things I like on TikTok are the weird funny moments more. And if you like you could follow someone who has a really funny TikTok, but it could be like a fluke. And it could just be like a random video that they accidentally made and it got huge.
Yep.
So there's no point in following them.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe like it's always going to be a feature that TikTok embraces, and maybe newer social platforms embrace. There's another thing in my head about like I've had like you already know this, so many goals in my life that I'm like, next.
Okay.
Tried it, next. And one of them before was like, I want to make a movie. Then it was like, I want to write a movie, or I want to write a show, or I want to do this, I want to do that. And then now I'm at a point where I want to do this podcast so that it can branch into other things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start thinking about the other things, and I'm like, it could be a show, it could be this, it could be that, it could be a script, it could be TikTok. And then when I say TikTok, or Instagram, I'm like, that just feels so wrong.
In what way?
In the way I'm thinking about it is like the discussion we had last time, where I want to create something meaningful, where I feel like things on TikTok and Instagram and social media aren't as meaningful because they're more fleeting and shorter.
Okay.
But then I start thinking the other way. I'm like, well, if everyone's on this device or this method, then that's where I should be creating TikTok, Instagram.
Right.
So there's like pulls from both directions. Like you have to make both, or you should make Instagram, TikTok at least. But do you really want to make the other stuff? Like, do you really want to make a show when shows are kind of dying, movies are kind of dying?
First off, I think a show is a faraway dream, faraway reality, I should say. And I kind of feel that, maybe not for this podcast, but like just things I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I could do that, and I would branch out into whatever.
Yeah.
Because I've been wanting to get into like writing.
Yeah.
But to get better at writing, you got to write a lot. So it's like, you got to do the first step. I've been like looking up how to get better. And I'll do it hopefully soon, but like if you're a good writer, you can be like, depending where you go, you could be good at writing scripts. You could be good at writing like personal essays.
So many things.
Writing like speeches. Writing will just help you have like better vocabulary. And then like writing would help me on the podcast just because I'm putting my words down and I'm more able to speak my mind, right? More eloquently.
Oh, what a word.
Eloquently.
Yeah. We'll call this episode Eloquently.
There you go. I don't know where I was going with this.
You were saying that that's a faraway dream. That
because like eventually it would be like, it would be cool to write like a script for the X-Men Mad Men pilot.
Yes, the one that we're writing right now.
Yes.
In our head.
But that's such a far away, impossible goal right now because there's so many things you got to do first. Like if you want a TV show out of this show, there's like a million things we got to do first.
But so I understand that there's a million things first, but I'm thinking like the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is the TV show, is that really where I want to be at? Like, is that even going to be something to strive for? Because when I want to create some, like I said, something worth reading.
Lasting value.
Lasting value. I don't want to create a video that's 13 seconds long and it's forgotten.
Right.
But I know that's what's needed to move on to the next step.
Well, it's
but
like,
is the last step something that's antiquated and not even worth, like, does anyone even care about movies anymore unless it's stupid Marvel movies?
I think you shouldn't have like a set goal like that. It should be more fluid.
Like my gender?
Exactly like your gender.
Okay.
But let's say you want to do a show, but in 10 years, maybe that's when you're going to be ready to do the show, and you put in all the work. You're like a good writer now, you're a good director, whatever, but now nobody wants shows. You would have to give up that dream and then be fluid enough to transfer it into whatever the next thing is.
Yes.
So that's kind of why I want to get into just writing, because that's like, that could go anywhere. And if you're a good writer, you could, like, oh, people want to see TikTok movies now. I'll learn how to do it the best. I already know how to write. I just need to tailor my skills better.
Yep.
But if I'm aiming to write Mad Men for the X-Men Mad Men show for 10 years, and then it just can't happen, then what? Hey, you can switch, but you're going to be so heartbroken.
That's true.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, and it goes back to my like ADD-ness, where it's like I need to what I put in, I need to get reward back. And it's a disgusting illness that I have.
Like a slot machine.
It's like no. Slot machine, you put it in and you never get it back.
You could win.
It's more like, I don't know.
Blackjack.
No. I don't know.
Poker.
What?
Poker.
They said hooker. I was like, oh.
Hooker.
That's what it goes with. I don't know. Well, yeah, that helps because now you have me in the idea of like, you just got to take it slow.
Yeah.
And you just got to put in the work. And I already knew that, but I just have this idea of like,
you want it now.
Not even I want it now, but like I want this. But when I get there, I'm going to be like, that's nothing.
Is that all there is?
Yeah. And like no one's even looking at that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's fine because like I'll know that before that time.
That's like another thing. Like, you don't know what your thing will be. Like, you're not Kanye. You're not going to knock it out of the park each time. You're not you, but you're going to be just more often than not, you're going to not know what's going to be your hit.
Correct.
So you got to be open to, you have to be open to making hits.
Yes.
And not try to get that one hit.
Yeah. It's like you just have to let it come to you.
Yeah.
Don't go into the studio trying to make a number one hit.
Yeah.
Make what you feel in your heart.
Yeah.
And the rest will come.
Yeah.
Ivan, let's take a quick commercial break. Ivan, let's keep this short and sweet. Vegas.
Baby.
What'd you think?
Sin City.
We went there for our bachelor trip.
The city that never sleeps.
That's actually New York City.
Same vibe.
What'd you think?
Dirty.
Your first impression was glorious, right?
I was a little under the weather.
That's not the right term.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the point, though. Like, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
Your first night, you look, the flashing lights. Shout out Kanye West.
Flash.
Lights.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And then you're like, wow, because you don't see that in day-to-day life. So it's like classic like hits every little button in your head of seeing something cool.
Yeah.
And then I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
What's the disgusting part of it? Or like what's the bad part of Vegas?
It's how much money is generated for nothing besides being rich. And being rich, like the casino owners.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't want to get political or anything, but
This
let
is
me
the place
get
to do it.
political. Like, you could use that money for like so many better things, and they generate so much of it. Like, I'm not saying like turn it into a solar farm,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just such a huge generation of money that goes nowhere.
Now you know why they call it Sin City.
Take me back.
What'd you think of our like taking away the like sociological aspect of it? What was your experience?
How can
like?
How can I do that?
Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. Like, I can remove it from my head. I can be a mindless drone of a sheep that we call humanity. It's cool. Like, I think, what do you call it? The kind of like the benefit of it.
Positives?
Yeah, is that because that place exists, you get all these amazing restaurants.
Right.
And you, like, I'm sure there's a lot more, but the marvel of what man has created sort of thing, even if it's like such a horrible thing we have created, it's still like an interesting, awe-inspiring thing.
Yeah. And it's true. And there's good things and bad things, obviously. And Jesus.
It's like coming in
What are
here.
we in the 1950s war movie?
A B-24 bomber coming through the window.
Is that the Third Reich trying to...
All right, that was racist.
Okay. There's many different ways you can do Vegas.
Right.
And I knew that coming in, but now I sort of know my niche.
You're a Vager. That's what they call it, right?
I'm a Vegas...
A Vegasite?
Vegasite. I just...
Vegemite?
What we did is we partied every night and drank too much. And that can wear thin and wear you out, right?
Yeah.
And you need to truly like something, you need to take it slow and experience it.
But it's like a bachelor party. That's
like what's on the menu.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing that's on the menu.
Yeah. You can't
True.
just
There's another thing that I'm like, I don't want to go to Vegas again until I'm rich. Because I want to go to the restaurants, all the restaurants, and I want to gamble on a poker game like without having to worry how much money I have in the bank.
like James Bond.
Yeah.
Little
Just for fun.
tux.
Like one of our friends or one of my friends said on the trip, to bet is like the cost of playing. Like the
Yeah.
money you put in,
Yeah.
that's what you're paying to play.
Yeah.
You're not playing to win. And I just want to pay to play. I don't care if I win. Obviously, it'd be nice, but I want to play without worrying.
Right.
But I would say what I want to do next time when we go to Vegas, whoever, me, by myself,
Right.
me and Tanya, me and you, I want to eat fine dining.
Smoke fine cigars.
Cigars, fine dining, stay up until like 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And not wake up until 1 p.m., sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And do the same thing. And then go to the pool. I don't want to go to a club. I don't want to gamble unless I have money, like I said. But I just want to eat good and see cool things.
Right.
Because it's meant to be experienced at night, I think.
Yeah.
Don't go out during the day. Unless you're in a pool.
You should find a way to sleep completely in the day and then only be out at night. That's probably like the most optimal.
Yeah. Definitely. Switching subjects. Ivan, it's time for a section we like to call
Things and such.
I did that because I think I'm gonna add like a little title. Yeah, exactly that. We've been gone for 2 weeks from the podcast,
Hibernating.
so we got something to talk about.
Culminating.
Um,
Cultivating.
the BET Awards was this past week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Your
My boy?
what's his name? How should I call him?
My boy?
Your protege. Your
Lil Nas X?
yes. He came out
He did?
literally a couple years ago, and he came out and he did his performance of Montero.
Okay.
Gotta admit, it wasn't the best performance, but it was very provocative at the end because he was kissing a guy.
What?
Yep, that happened. Can I just say
Oh,
that
no. Here we go.
there's two things. One thing is that you thought this man was the next Drake.
It could still be.
How? When he's not producing music,
He is like...
his main thing isn't music.
Oh. Image?
Yes.
Okay.
He's more of a Travis Scott right now than... Or he's more of
There
a
will
Cardi...
never be another Drake.
He's more of a Cardi B. That's true. He's more Cardi B.
I meant it more as like he's another big thing.
Gotcha.
He's the next himself.
Gotcha. I could see that.
But maybe he's not. But I see the potential in him where he can make that kind of name for himself.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with like him doing what he did,
Uh-huh.
kissing the guy, obviously knowing that it was going to cause a stir. It's so weird how homophobic rap is, though.
It's a lot of phobic.
Yeah.
Good.
I think what do I think about Lil Nas X?
Here we go.
I just don't think he's going to make music
Ever?
at a clip where we're like
Mm.
Lil Nas X, but it's more going to be like something once a month that comes out like, oh, he did this. Oh, he did
Mhm.
this. Kind of like a Kardashian.
What?
I think what I'm trying to say is maybe I'm happy he's in this society, in this culture. I think he's a benefit. I think
Yeah.
he's opening people's eyes. I think he's breaking down barriers. I think it's amazing that he came out with Old Town Road
Uh-huh.
and it was this big, humongous hit,
Uh-huh.
disgusting hit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you play it at an elementary and every single one of those 5-year-olds was going to sing it word for word.
Yep.
And then, and he was dressed like a normal guy, right?
Yeah.
Just t-shirt, jeans, regular guy.
Yeah.
Now he's this extremely gay man,
Mm-hmm.
kissing guys, dancing provocatively. I think it's one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's what is needed. Like just a big like
Yeah.
not that that's like
Right.
you know?
Right.
But to rap it is. And it needs like that awakening that like people are gay. And that's it.
I love that. People are gay.
And that's like what he's doing,
Yeah.
like at its core. But people can't accept that too.
Like he's not doing anything different than Ariana Grande's doing.
yeah.
It's just that he's a guy
Yeah.
and he's gay,
Yeah.
which is incredible because it's like, yeah, he's literally not doing that much different than Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Shout out
And
to Lil Nas X.
he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Speaking of BET performances, our boy Tyler the Creator, he had an amazing performance.
Mm.
can I just say that Tyler the Creator has been, unbeknownst to me until I actually just look back at his career, a huge inspiration of mine.
Oh,
Just because of where he started and following, like I followed him from the beginning, not avidly, but enough to be like, I know what he's up to. I know the music that he's creating. I know that
yeah.
I know he was coming out with albums. I listened to some of the albums, even though I didn't like all of them or I didn't like all the songs. And creatively, I just think he's not even a creative genius. Like the things he does, his music to me isn't like the best. It is good, but it's not the best. The music videos are unique enough to make me like him. His style of clothing I wouldn't wear, but I think it's unique.
He's very himself.
Very
in
himself.
What he does.
But what makes him to me inspirational is just him doing things,
Mhm.
him creating. From the beginning, where he was sort of this like, I would say like punk in hip hop, like
Mhm.
punk mentality of like just do whatever I want, to now where he's, I guess, openly gay, bisexual, and making unique music videos that you don't see in hip hop, where hip hop is still deeply rooted in like gangster rap,
Yeah.
where the number one rapper is probably Lil Baby right now. He's coming at it completely the other side, and he's doing his damn thing.
Yeah.
What did you listen to the new album?
Yeah. Sucked.
You thought it sucked?
No.
Okay.
It's like an 8, but I don't know. I just.
There's nothing really that amazing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that he sort of went all in on rap,
Mm-hmm.
where in the last album Igor was more singing, and this one he's like, okay, I'm gonna rap.
Yeah.
And he sort of adapted this personality that's more of a braggadocious guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be a rapper.
Right.
I like that. And he went in on it, and he's like, yeah. And he talks about it in the album where he's like, there's like little skits interwoven into the songs where he talks about, I've always had confidence in myself. Even when no one liked me, I did my own thing. That's like a common thesis throughout the whole
It's
thing.
weird. Like, it's sort of like, it's like a mental illness in a way.
It is.
Not, but a mental power.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anyone who has perfect confidence, and maybe he's lying, but it doesn't sound like he's lying.
Right.
It sounds like he literally has always never had fear.
Right.
But that sounds like impossible. So I don't know. I want to pick his brain.
It's a Kanye ism.
But in Kanye's, he still says like, "Oh, I have insecurities and I have this and that." Maybe Tyler does too, but I don't see it as much with Tyler. It just feels like he knows he's very good at being himself.
Right.
And he was never scared of who he hurt when he was himself.
Right.
Whereas Kanye is like, he's hurt people by being himself.
That's true. I do I sort of forgot my thought. Have you ever heard about like the idea that, I think I told you about it, that autism is like the evolution of man?
I've heard.
Right?
Yeah.
You've heard of that? Where the idea is that people that are autistic are able to concentrate on one thing, or be able to do things at a better rate than other people are. It just made me, that came up in my head when you said about like Tyler having this mental superpower.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I don't know. It's crazy to see his evolution. Because when he first came in, he was just like, he reminded me of the nerds in high school that I knew that were rebels. You know?
Yeah.
There was like nerds in high school that no one liked because they were nerdy, but they also were crazy and didn't give a fuck about anyone. And they did whatever they wanted. They knew they were nerds and like, I don't care. I'm me. And he went from that to like this sort of like the music he makes now is like way different, a lot more melodic. I saw like a video of him playing the piano. I'm like, I would never guess that he played the piano that well.
Right.
Where when he first started, he was just like this guy that rapped. And I remember him making a video, like a skit video of like him singing along to Waka Flocka, like his songs. And now to see him like this is so different. It's just so weird to me. And it's crazy. And it just shows you like how someone can evolve.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the album.
It was good.
What do you think about Brent Faiyaz and Drake's song?
Meh. I blame Pharrell for all of my errors in life. I mean, if you have those three on one song, you have high standards. Like,
Yeah.
and when it's not as good as you think, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't that great. Like, it's a good
It's a good song.
7, but it should have been an 8.5 at least.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Pharrell, Drake, Brent.
It's Neptunes, not just Pharrell too, right?
Yeah.
Which is, to me, it's Neptunes are way better than Pharrell. Like
Yeah.
if you see Neptunes produced, that means a lot more to me than Pharrell because
I agree.
I've heard Pharrell duds.
But like the beat wasn't anything
I know.
special. It just feels like another turned out. Like I could have made that.
Ivan.
I could have pooped that.
Ivan?
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything where amazingly special. And I think that just because he's old now, he can't see anymore.
Neptunes.
They can't see anymore. They don't have that inspiration. They don't have the drive.
It was interesting to hear Drake rapping like a rapper over. Like you would expect with Brent Faiyaz and Neptunes for Drake to be more melodic, but he's like, nah, I'm gonna straight up rap. Like I'm gonna be the rapper on this. It to me it sounded like a classic R&B / rap song that you would hear like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But I agree. There wasn't really much anything there. Like I don't know.
I think it's because like I'm assuming they didn't actually work with the Neptunes.
Yep.
They just bought the beat, or Brent bought it, and he's like, I can get Drake on this, and now I have Neptunes and Drake on the song. And that's not how you make an amazing song. That's how you make.
I'm curious how they would make it. Yeah. I now that you say that, it makes me think like, what did he do? How did he do this? That's why, like, I don't know, man. There's such a need for like smart.
A producer who works with the artist.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe we just are out of the loop. Maybe there are these people. They're just not doing their job well. Maybe that's why people like Dre and Kanye and even Soundwave now are so valuable, because they can do things for their artists. But
I mean, that's what a good producer should do, is like insert the artist like into the song so it like nestles into it.
Right.
But it shouldn't be like beat, verse, another verse. That's just like copy and pasting.
And if it does sound like that, they might still have a producer, but that producer is not doing their job good enough.
Yeah. That's like bare minimum. But why do bare minimum when you have Drake and the Neptunes?
Okay, let's move on. I want to talk about something, and it can go one of two ways. So let's take a short break.
Bruh.
I hit up Ivan the other day. I'm like, dude, Joe Rogan, Quentin Tarantino, they're having a podcast. And Ivan's like, who cares? And I was offended by that. But after listening to the podcast, I was like, yeah.
You know, I was interested, but I just like saying "who cares" a lot.
I know. I don't think you even said who cares.
I probably did in some way.
Yeah, that's true. But so I listened to the podcast, and Rogan, he was more of a fan talking to Quentin. He's like,
Yeah.
how'd you get the idea of Pulp Fiction?
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell Quentin he wasn't a bad interviewer
Mm-hmm.
or interviewee, but he was just like answering the questions, and like there wasn't much Rogan was pulling out of Tarantino that I didn't already sort of like know
Assume.
or assume, yeah. And I was like, oh man, that wasn't as good. But luckily Tarantino's on this like press run where he's doing he released a book, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the novel,
Mm-hmm.
which I tried to buy, but they were sold out. Anyways, so he did a bunch of podcasts, and he did a podcast with the Ringers podcast, The Big Picture. Anyways, these people know films, and they got so much more out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was talking about these films that I had no idea about. And he's like, oh, you should watch this, you should watch that. And it made me just like, and we were talking about this earlier, the fact that we're not really cinephiles like he is.
Mm-hmm.
And not that we could ever get to his
Level.
because he's watched, like, if you would have heard him, it seems like he's watched almost every film ever
Right.
made. But he has this admiration for pulp movies, so like noirs, even movies that are like we would consider B movies
Mm-hmm.
for horror classics and stuff like that.
A little like with some grit to it.
Yes. And the way he looks at it is that you can take something out of
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
Or like there's something good in most things, or at least
Yeah.
you can try to find it. And that is different from, I think, for sure how I think. I don't know, maybe you too.
That's how I think. I agree. I wouldn't do it. I mean, he's right, but like, I'm not gonna do it with movies because I don't want to watch that many meh movies for like the little gold.
Right.
But it's more of like an attitude. Whenever I do watch a movie, and people are like, "Oh, it was bad," like it's not bad. There's redeeming parts.
Yes.
Like, there is gold in things.
Right.
And I think that's like my least favorite part of movie nerds, where they exaggerate on one end or the other.
Uh-huh.
Like they're not level-headed often.
No, they're not.
And that kind of goes with every like music, games, etc.
Uh-huh.
They're like, this is the best or this is the worst. I'm like, no, it was good. That's it.
He did give an opinion on Marvel movies. Like, they asked him, what do you think about like the cinematic universe?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's all right. He's like, anything else? Like, he's like, well, I would like them if I were 20 years old, but I'm not 20 years old anymore.
Right.
And it sort of pierced me.
Like,
I'm like, oh God.
well, it's like how I feel about Playboy Cardi in a way. Like,
Right.
Maybe if I was like in that demographic of rager, teen, yeller, whatever people, I would love Cardi, but that's just not who I am at all.
Right.
So it's like I can appreciate parts of Cardi, but I don't like them.
He also talked about how Pulp Fiction, when it was released, it became the zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone was talking about it. There was no one that watched movies that wasn't talking about Pulp Fiction. And then he made me think, because he was talking about Endgame too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Endgame was also zeitgeist. And the polar difference between the type of zeitgeist they are. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like how the idea that Pulp Fiction maybe was not as big as Endgame, obviously, because it didn't make as much money or whatever. But the idea that it's at close enough level to even be comparable is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much has society changed where this sort of indie kind of film, maybe not so much indie at that time, but it was made less than $20 million, became the zeitgeist. Where over here you have this corporate-backed movie, Endgame, Marvel, Disney's backing this bad boy up, and that's the zeitgeist.
I think it's like a reflection on like society.
Yeah.
Like we want the fantasy coolness because the real life kind of sucks. But back then, I mean, I'm sure it was bad back then in its own way. But we just want that power fantasy sort of thing that heroes can give, right? Because we're pretty powerless as Americans, I would say. Like there's Zuckerberg and Mr. Bezos,
Right.
and they're billionaires, and like I could almost feel their eminence from here, just because they're so rich, and it's like they're never gonna get toppled.
That's crazy. I like that analogy. You're saying that the reason, one of the weird reasons why people are so attracted to Marvel movies, superhero movies,
Yes.
is because of the lack of our own power?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't remember where it was from a book,
Yeah.
but I don't remember what book, but it said like everything is a reflection of everything
Yes.
in some way.
Yeah.
So whenever something happens, look what it says, and it's like a reflection of what people are thinking or feeling.
Interesting.
Like everything. Like no little thing is
Well,
out of
especially
nothing.
art, though.
Yeah.
Movies are art, and
Yeah.
art is just an expression of creativity and your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if, like, I can say without, I can't even say that actually, but I would think that the Russo brothers, the guys that made Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
they're not like, our thesis behind this film is that
Yeah. I know what you mean.
we're making this film to give power, to symbolize that we do have power.
Yeah.
If anything, they're like, we just want to make a dope Marvel movie.
Yeah. They're like more of a product of where they are at. Like they don't choose to, like the theme is forced on them
Right.
by like what our culture wants,
Right.
because we decide what we want with our money. And if we want superhero movies, the directors are going to make superhero movies.
Yep.
Like I'm sure they didn't imagine I'm going to make Endgame in 20 years. They probably wanted I want to make Pulp Fiction in 20 years. I want to make
Yep.
Pulp Fiction 2 in 20 years.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
It's so crazy. It's a good, I like that. I love that, actually. He also talked about his idea that the Kill Bill movies were going to spawn like their own universe. That he wanted to make an anime show out of it, an anime movie, another movie out of it. And he's like, I just never really committed to that.
It's kind of funny, like he has his failures, and his is he never made the Kill Bill cinematic universe.
Right.
Like it's a crazy different scale compared to like what I would consider my failures.
True. Maybe he doesn't even consider that a failure too.
Well, I mean,
Maybe that's just
it's like a mindset,
right.
if anything. That's why like his failures.
Speaking of like cinematic universe, Zack Snyder just came out saying like, you heard?
No, I just don't like his name.
You're gonna hate this then. He's like, I'm gonna make. he announced his next film. It's gonna be on Netflix. It's called Rebel Moon, and he said it's inspired by Star Wars and Akira Kurosawa, who made like
yeah.
the Japanese films, famous Japanese films.
Yes.
And he's like, I've been planning this movie for a long time. I've been strategizing, and I hope it can turn into its own cinematic universe. And when he said that, I threw up in my mouth. Like the fact, I get that you want to make a cinematic universe. Hell, I want to make a cinematic universe.
I was about to say, like, don't we want that?
But I feel like when it's coming out of his mouth, it's
He's
throw up.
He's too hoity-toity big boy.
What do you mean by that? I think I know what you mean, but what do you mean?
He needs a humbling of sorts with a bat.
Well, he's empowered by his fans, though.
Yeah. But you don't listen to your fans ever.
I think... Wait, what? You shouldn't?
I'd say you should be inspired by them, but not empowered by them.
You should be motivated by them.
You should be motivated to make
more. No, because that's his problem. He's making more.
There's a way to have a healthy relationship with fans, but I don't like his relationship with fans.
The issue is that he makes these movies that are almost... I sort of want to compare them to like hair metal rock.
Okay. Yeah.
Where it's like this, there's like this image that he's always going for, and it sounds like that, and it plays like that, and there's fans that like that.
Like how AC/DC makes the same song,
Kinda, yeah.
but they're all like kind of hits, but they're all the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like, and there's always going to be fans for that kind of style in any genre. And the fact that he's like, oh yeah, this is doing good because people are watching, people are paying. And there's just not that level of growth that I would want from an artist. And the fact that he's able to say, I want to make a cinematic universe is like, I guess my sort of like me getting taken aback by that statement is just that I don't feel like he deserves that.
He's not proven.
Yeah. Like he's obviously proven because he's been making a boatload of money, but to
He's
be
not artistically proven.
not artistically proven.
Like if Kanye says, I'm going to make a cinematic musical universe, you can believe that. Maybe not these days, but
yes.
at a point.
But if Lil Baby says that, I'm like, no.
Like, humble yourself.
Like, first show me that you're more than just Paddock. Was it Richard Millie?
New Paddock on my wrist.
Yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then we have Quentin Tarantino over here saying, you know what? I'll make a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood versus my cinematic universe of Kill Bill. Thank you. Thank you for doing something for art. You know?
Yep.
And it's funny because now he's sort of spawning off of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
He made this book and he wants to make a play. So he's sort of off of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So this is his sort of maybe germinating idea of.
I think that's healthy, where you don't, because if he was just making movies forever, eventually he would start just going down, because you can't stay healthy in that way.
Right.
I don't think you can. But once you start like pushing yourself to do new things, then you gotta kind of relearn, and then that's where you get a little humbler, and then you work harder to make your stuff good.
Quentin Tarantino, thank you for everything you've done. We appreciate you. Your Peliculas with the Bros approved. You can now do more things in life.
You're now invited to the show anytime you'd like.
Hit us up. My name is Adrian. His name's Ivan. So you can find us on various platforms.
Peliculas at withthebros.com. That's our email.
I need to get that now. Because what if he emails it?
Oh, man. Imagine. Shut up.
That's happened.
No.
Not for that, but like.
Don't email us. Text us.
If you watch, leave a comment. You've heard this.
Come on, Quentin.
Come on, Glenn. Leave a comment or something. I don't know. Okay, you ready to talk about the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back. Ivan, let's talk about the movie what we came here to talk about. What movie is that?
Vice.
Imagine you said something else.
That would be funny.
I did have like 5 apprehensions before this podcast. Will he show up?
It's been only a week. What'd you think? Like, I was retired or what?
I don't know. Will he show up? Will he watch the right movie? And I get nervous. I start getting mad. I'm like, why are you getting mad? He didn't even do that yet.
Get mad when I mess up.
Ivan, the year's 2018. We're talking about Vice, so let's talk about the top 10 films of 2018. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, $654 million. Now we're talking stupid money.
Talking idiot money right now.
Number 9, Deadpool 2.
Nice.
Number 8, Mission Impossible Fallout. Number 7, Venom.
Who?
Yeah, $856 million. Number 6, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Rhapsody?
Rhapsody,
Yeah.
$904 million.
Careful there, buddy.
5, Aquaman. 4, Incredibles 2. 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. 2, Black Panther. 1, Avengers Infinity War.
It's like disgusting blockbuster only movies. Like, that's all that is.
I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 10 are Marvel/Disney related. 5 out of the 10, Ivan.
They already took over, huh?
It's done. The takeover's completed. But we're here to talk about Vice. Same year as these movies came out, Vice came out. Didn't make nowhere near that amount of money. You can assure yourself that. The premise of this movie, we follow the life of Dick Cheney. Let's restart that, shall we?
Welcome to Peliculas with the Bro.
From the very beginning to right now. The premise of Vice. We follow the life of Dick Cheney. From Yale dropout to second in command, Vice President of the United States of America. Salute that man right now. With a cast of Christian Bale as Dick Cheney, Alex McNicholly and Aidan Gao as young Dick Cheney, Amy Adams as Lynn, Vincent Cheney, Kaylee Spaney as young Lynn, Steve Carell as Donald Rumsfeld, Sam Rockwell as George W. Bush, Tyler Perry as Colin Powell. That was interesting. Allison Pill as Mary Cheney, Lily Rabe as Liz Cheney, and Jesse Plemons as Kurt, the narrator. Great performance
Kurt.
right there. Ivan, this movie comes 3 years after The Big Short. McKay continues to do his thing. Every 2 or 3 years, he's coming out with a movie. He does not stop. It's his second comedy/drama, right?
More
Right
drama this time. Even more than Big Short.
Correct. I would agree with that. But there's still a fair bit
Little
of comedy. A little bit?
A little bit.
There's a whole part in the middle of the movie where it stops and it's like they lived happily ever after. You would never see that in a movie that you say a little bit of drama, a little bit of comedy. I mean,
I guess.
McKay wants to make a movie about Dick Cheney after reading his biography. So we get this movie, Vice. Ivan, is this your first time watching it? Stupid.
Yes.
My first time watching it too. After watching it, what are your immediate feelings?
A patriot.
Damn.
A patriot through and through.
Go ahead.
He is a patriot, but it's like
Get him. Get him, Ivan.
nah, come on, I can't. To be a patriot of America, you have to be not that great of a person, and that's just what being a patriot is.
Do you really agree with that?
I think
To me, you're saying the premise of.
No.
Uh-huh.
I agree with it, but I don't like it. Like, I think that's just like,
It's like that's the way life is.
yeah. Like, I wish being a patriot was helping your fellow man up from the bootstraps and giving him free hospital care or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But American way is bomb Iraqis.
But that's hilarious. Bomb Iraqis is the American way. What did you? I see what you think about The Man. What do you think of the movie?
The legend, the myth. I liked it. It's good. I'm a sucker for biopics
They're
because you learn a little.
yeah.
Even if they're not completely accurate. But this one, I feel like there wasn't too many lies, just cinematic choices sort of thing. But you learn from it. You're like, that I see how this goes. I see what it takes, sort of thing.
After watching the film, I was very interested in the film. Let me just say that. The same way you're saying, like, biopics to me are super interesting. So it had me captivated the whole time. Not necessarily because it's the most entertaining movie, but I wanted to learn how things worked and why things happened the way that they did during his administration and so on. I did come away thinking, like, it's sort of hard to make an entertaining movie about a guy who's extremely reserved.
Yeah. That's why you got Steve Carell for half the movie.
I know that's the trick, you know, like
yeah.
just had a time bomb. But after like reflecting about it, because like I said earlier in the podcast, I've been reflecting about things, trying to soak things in more. So soak, not suck.
Oh. I don't know.
I was walking and I was thinking like why I sort of felt that the movie wasn't, or I came away feeling like I didn't know really who Dick Cheney was. Like I didn't feel like I knew his motivations.
I think that's the point.
Exactly. I started walking. I was like, isn't sort of the point that no one knows who Dick Cheney was? Not even McKay. So he sort of left it so that you still don't know why Cheney did certain things he did because no one knows. And after I realized that, like, you know how we rank movies? The ranking went tick, 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 tick. Because it's sort of hard to say whether he did that on purpose. Like maybe he was trying to show who Dick Cheney was more.
I think he was more showing like the danger of Dick Cheney types
of power. Of how power could manipulate.
Power of Dick Cheney types.
Yeah.
Because his thing was like just observe and listen and then strike.
Yes.
When he saw the opportunity.
Yep.
And boy, did he strike.
Oh, man. With air missiles.
On Iraqis.
On Iraqis.
I lost it.
I know. I make you do that, you know.
You're toxic.
I'm toxic masculinity at its finest.
Toxic masculinity.
It's so hard to say, but it's so good. You look like a fish from SpongeBob SquarePants, those guppies. Cheney, man. What a weird guy.
He's my hero.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
just because you squint your eye doesn't mean it's true.
He's impressive. Like how he does his stuff.
First off, shout out to Christian Bale for playing Dick Cheney.
His manners
and how you portrayed him.
It's like when you bomb Iraq.
Stream.
I'm a patriot.
What you gotta do is
I'm a patriot. I bomb Iraqis.
Okay, continue. Did you forget?
Yeah.
Good. He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
It seems like one of his main motivations was his wife. Right? Because like in the beginning they show him sort of like
a
as
power couple.
A drunkard.
Yeah.
Who's dropping out of Yale which I still don't know why he's even at Yale. Like, is he that smart to begin with? And then, like, his wife gives him a pep talk saying, like, if you don't stop, I'm going to leave you. And that just revolutionizes him for some reason.
That woman.
What women can do.
What a woman.
What a woman. Why is that even?
I don't know. It feels like old timey Dick Cheney. He has like these big straps or like
With
Winston.
a big gut.
Yeah.
Eating power for lunch.
Yeah.
You lost my train of thought. Let me go back to my notes so I can reacclimate myself. I understand that he's a family man. That's sort of portrayed in the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he loves his family, that he loves his daughters, and they try to humanize him in that way, and I think they do a good job. I do think that what McKay's working with is basically, to put it bluntly, like almost nothing.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know the man at all.
Yeah.
And I think that gives him a lot of creative freedom to do a bunch of different things, blah, blah, blah. And what he does with them is good. Because, like I said earlier, he makes it so you still don't really know the full extent of who Cheney is.
Right.
And I like that. I love, we've talked about it, Steve Carell's character, Donald Rumsfeld. The dynamic between, the opposites between Cheney and Rumsfeld is amazing. A bombastic guy with a reserved guy.
It's like old government sort of like women are objects sort of deal.
Right.
And Dick
Mad Men.
Cheney's, yeah. Dick Cheney's a little more progressive.
As much as that meant back then.
Yeah. Whereas like be a little smarter with what you say.
Right.
And I think his style is a lot more what politics is now.
Yes. I you should have just farted. Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I'm scared.
I'm back in my safe place. There's this pivotal moment in the movie where, so the idea is that Cheney goes under the tutelage of Rumsfeld, like sort of becomes his apprentice, and tries to learn the system through Rumsfeld, and he learns it very well. But there's this point where Cheney goes to Rumsfeld and tells him, so what's our ideals? Like, what do we believe in? And Rumsfeld laughs at his face and closes the door at him, like basically saying,
yeah,
what a dumb thing to even ask. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the takeaway is like, there is no ideal that we want. The ideal isn't an ideal. It's the only thing we want is power.
Okay.
We just want to win. We don't care if we're promoting same-sex marriage or banning gay people. We just want to win. Obviously, that's polar opposites, and that's not what they were going for. But it's an example of like, at the end of the day, this party needs to be at the top.
Yeah.
I need to have the last word in the conversation. I want to be president. I want the power.
Right.
And the fact that is most likely true is so scary. And it shows you just like how messed up the political system is.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense, but it doesn't. Like, they're playing the game, but
the game.
Yeah.
They're playing a game.
Yeah. And that's how they treat it. But the game is bombing Iraqis.
And our American livelihood.
Yeah.
And American citizens who have to go to war.
Yeah.
And American taxpayers that have to pay when they don't have too much money to begin with.
Yeah. And like I know all my politics are just from learning. Like, my knowledge of politics is from TV and movies, but I've gained a surprisingly good amount of knowledge just from that. Like from
Yes.
Veep, I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation, they have a little bit of that too. But comedy is a reflection of society.
What was that, French or?
Something. So even though it's obviously like exaggerated and all these things, what they're doing is true. Like that's how they act. Like think the grossest thing that I've seen, not this isn't like a real example, but when they need like something passed, they like tack things on to
Yes.
the bill. And like when I first heard that, I'm like, why? But you need like when they tack it on, you get their vote to get your bill through. But if it's like a bill that's like give people the ability to live, like I'll only vote yes on this if
Right.
you do. Like why not just vote yes? But they're so like entrenched in the game of being the winner, of getting like that little win here and there and getting like the favor later, that it just ruins everything for everyone else. And that's just all of politics,
Yeah.
or American politics.
I'm sure it's like all politics wherever
Yeah.
you go.
Probably.
It's just,
It's sad.
I mean,
We need a
there's-
revolution.
we need something different, but it would take so much. We just need people. First of all, not even first of all.
Second of all,
Second of all, thank you.
I got you.
Always there for me, Ivan. There should be no president. There shouldn't be this thing where it's like I am the ultimate power in the universe, because
Yeah.
people are gonna strive for that.
We need like a body.
But we do. We have 3 bodies.
I only have one. How
Like we have the system,
about
but the idea that there's this guy called the president who's the king, he's just another word for king.
what if
No one cares about us. Go
what
ahead.
if there's a president and a mispresident?
Uh-huh.
So you see one represents the males,
Bad idea.
the other the females. And then we have one for each race. The black president, the Mexican president, the Asian president,
Well, okay, let me stop
the
you
Turkish
there, 'cause
president.
it's not going well. How about this? We have a system where there's no
games.
Yes. There's no president. There's no vice president. There's no like Supreme Court justice, whatever. But there is a body called the government. And what they do is they look at all our problems and say, there are these problems. We have this amount of money. Right?
Yeah.
This is our solution for this. This is our solution for that. Yes or no? Everyone vote on their phones.
But there's also the people who just are literally dumb, who
True.
like in a perfect world, like there's obviously like there's not a perfect solution for everything, but there's a pretty good solution for most things, right?
Uh-huh.
But there's the dumb people who are in government who have power who just don't realize they're wrong, and like
Oh, you're talking about in government. I thought you meant like the people voting are dumb too.
well, that too.
Okay, go ahead.
Both they feed off each other, but
Yep.
where they think they're right, and right now there's no way to change their mind because they're so freaking old, and they don't have that ability to be wrong and be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's just gonna. We're stuck right now.
So there's no. Is there? I guess like there has to be a way to rid corruption.
Murder.
and rid corruption and have people's best interests at their heart.
Okay.
But I don't know the solution for that.
Well, I think everyone has good or well-intentioned interests generally, but they think
I don't think that's true. Like,
hold
that's
on.
inherently
You
not true.
shut up.
Okay.
They're well-intentioned, but they have bad information.
Okay.
Like
Hitler.
those people. There's obviously people that like.
But you can say that about Hitler too. Like, he had misinformation.
Yeah. He's well-intentioned. Not what I mean, but he's like on the very end of the end of the spectrum of well-intentioned, because
Okay.
he thought like you would need a perfectly pure race, and I guess literally if you have a very perfectly pure race that is perfectly healthy, you would have a better society, right?
Right.
But if in the process you have to kill millions of people, then you're doing something wrong. Like
Correct.
That's not the path.
Correct. Obviously.
Obviously.
I don't know if you had to say that, but you said it, so here we
I had to
are.
explain why Hitler is bad to the folks at home.
Okay, gotcha.
Well intentioned, but like they just don't know they're wrong, right?
No, they
Yes.
know they're wrong.
No. Well, I think some are doing it for the power, and those people are just mentally ill. But there's also people like dummy people, voters, who think that like the devil is a literal thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And that influences their vote. And they see Lil Nas X dancing on the stripper pole to hell. They're like, he has to die
Yeah.
because he's gonna kill children, and they literally think that, like, not as an exaggeration.
True.
And those are the people, like, you can't fix that. Like, that's well-intentioned technically, right?
Yes, but I was solely discussing people in office.
Huh?
People in the government.
Okay.
People in the government are not well-intentioned. I mean, some are, but a lot aren't. A lot are just playing the game,
Yes.
power, money, and they don't care about their
But Dick
constituents.
Dick Cheney. Remember at the end?
But
the
that's Dick Cheney. That's
the interview? You think he was faking that?
that never really happened. He ad-libbed that.
Isn't that speaking from the heart?
Bale ad-libbed that as Dick Cheney. But Cheney never said that on record.
Oh. But I think that's like the message of the movie. Where like
It is. But
he
is
was
that
well-
really what Cheney felt? Or was he more like, I need power?
Because throughout the movie, he's like, I need to show the power of America.
Why?
Yeah. What do you mean, why? Why did he say that?
No. Why did he? Yeah. Like, why does he feel that?
Because he loves America. He's a patriot.
But can't you love something and not want to show the power?
Well, now we're talking about human nature, and that's above my pay grade, buddy.
Good reference. Good callback. I
where
just
we're going.
think that people that
You're cynical. You're half glass.
half glass full.
Yeah.
I am.
Glass
I
half
think
full.
Obama I think he went in
He was a racist.
almost well-intentioned, like almost as well-intentioned as you can, and then once he's in there, he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll play the game."
I think you have to play the game
Yes.
in order to do anything, but it's a lose-lose no matter what.
Yes, it is.
You're in politics, you're going to become evil just because you have to play the game. You have to compromise.
In our political system, you have to compromise.
And compromise is not good.
For
Society.
society. Back to the movie.
They got political.
I got
That's
over.
going to drive the users crazy at home. They're going to, in the comments, keyboard
They
warrior.
love this.
Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers.
All my angel investors. Shout out to all my angel investors.
Okay.
You got in while it was hot. Now we're blowing up. I don't know what I'm saying.
Now we're blowing up.
Sam Rockwell, George W. Bush.
He made them nice and stupid.
Nice and stupid. And they say that's really how he was. Some people say no. Some people say yes.
I've seen more recent interviews with him, and he seems like a smart dude. Like a once dumb guy, but he's like, yeah, I was dumb. I'm smart now, sort of thing.
Could be. But was he dumb during presidency?
Could be.
It's crazy to think that they made that deal where Cheney was like, I'll be your vice president as long as you give me this power, and this power.
He's like, if you give me the military, I'll be the vice president. Like, that's
that's
power
everything.
of America.
Yeah.
You're just giving away.
Everything.
That's like giving your chain away.
It is. Ivan. Drake. You know where we're at.
What's
Six.
666?
I forgot what it was.
You forgot to say it 3 times.
Yeah. I thought it was Six Side.
6 West Side.
Yeah, I was going to say Six Side.
I mean, I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
That sounds like something he would say, though.
So, the fact that if this is the true portrayal of who Bush was, isn't that amazing? Pretty much handpicked because he was the son of a former president. It's like this. They said the political system behind them was like, this is our guy.
It's his turn.
Yes.
I remember they said that. Not like about him, but like they're taking turns of who's the next president.
It's like the thing with Biden. They basically said, this is the guy we need. Sorry, what's his name? The old guy.
Oh,
Grumpy man.
Yang.
No.
I know he
Bald.
Bernie.
Sorry, Bernie. It's not your time.
Yeah. He's too old.
Don't say old when you're talking about Biden.
They're both too old.
Now we're going to get blacklisted. YouTube's not going to put us. We're like Trumbo.
Trombone?
Trumbo?
Trumbo. The
Blacklisted? Screenwriter?
the Malcolm in the Middle dad dude?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Me neither.
Whatever.
I know.
Whatever.
This is taking a weird
What a
turn.
mess.
I guess what I'm saying is... So, okay. Let's reel it back. Do you think Bush was as incompetent as McKay makes him seem?
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
You know why, Adrian?
Let me think. Yeah, I know why.
You know why I know he is?
No, why?
Because Donald Trump became our president. And if he could do it...
Don't you disrespect my president like that.
You want to go? You want to tussle? Hey, don't you dare. You can do a belt. Mine is the straps.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
It's not even like a political... Well, I guess it has to be political, but like Donald Trump was just not that smart of a dude. Like just as a fact. And George, he was smarter, but he became president. It's like a low bar.
Bush was picked. He was picked. He was plumped and he was primed.
He was plucked.
You could say he was plucked.
He was pruned.
Loki.
What?
Loki.
Oh,
We didn't talk about
spoilers.
that. Okay, let's talk about McKay a little bit more. I'm noticing something about McKay.
He's political now. He has an
Obviously.
agenda.
I'm noticing that in the past 2 movies, the type of people he finds interesting. People who notice, who pay attention, and gain power. Like in The Big Short, we have these Wall Street guys who were the only ones that were really paying attention to how fucked up things were. And they noticed something and they came up, right?
Right.
I think we live in a more ADD culture with not only things like TikTok and Instagram, but with Netflix, where you can stop a movie, turn it off, and watch something else.
Mm-hmm.
Where before we would have to put the VHS in, the ones that we own or rented, and watch the whole damn thing. Our society is leaning towards the ADDness of all of ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
And this movie, if it shows you something, it's that if you are focused, you can accomplish a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Pay attention.
And pay attention. I really, that really resonated with me. Just like the fact that he's focusing on these kind of characters. I also love, it's something really small, but something that I think helps the movie a lot is McKay's use of montages.
Mm-hmm.
He uses so a montage is basically a bunch of short scenes patched together. A movie is actually a montage. Just
Take that back.
It's a long montage. But a montage is just a bunch of short scenes packed up tightly to show a passage of time quicker,
Right.
if you want. The way he uses it is to show society,
Mm-hmm.
like the current state of society. He was showing like New York City and the people of New York City and like things happening around the city. And it gives us like a time and place, and it sort of puts that in your head. It's something that he does really well. He's done it in the past 2 films. I just want to give it a little shout out.
I'm putting together a very cohesive timeline of America from like Mad Men is the strong base, and then like everything after it is like starting to form like
Right. Like you're understanding society.
like history and society of America.
Yeah.
Now, I wish I had like a good history teacher that like made me interested, because like now I'm interested in history, but I'm 35, Adrian. Like, come on.
I literally thought you were 35. That's how scary that was. I was like, oh God.
How old am I?
This is true. Honestly, another thing that this movie really showed me or gave me like, it sort of gave me an inspiration to learn more. So I was thinking about this earlier. The idea is that after watching this movie, I have this thirst, a little bit thirst for knowledge the past week, right? And there's many things that movies can do. Like, obviously, like, it can entertain you. Like, if you look at something like Kill Bill, it's a movie that's meant to entertain you. And yeah, you could take life lessons from it, but ultimately, it's meant to entertain you.
Right.
This movie, it's a movie, so it's meant to entertain you as well.
Yeah.
But you can also learn from it, same way as you can learn from Kill Bill. But it gave me this need to learn more about history.
Right.
And about our history, about American culture and all that. And I think that's something to be said. Like for McKay to make you want to learn about history, that should make this movie sort of invaluable.
Right.
And maybe that doesn't reflect in the ranking I'll give it, you know? But maybe the ultimate, it's like anything. The 1% you put in today, if you keep putting it in, you won't notice how big that will grow down the line. And maybe
compound interest.
Compound interest, baby. Watch The Big Short if you want to learn more.
Cha-ching. That what? No.
Okay, sorry, I'm using it too much.
That's how you do it.
Got him. I want to see. I don't know how I can even compute this in my life, but what if this movie makes me like 10% smarter throughout my lifespan?
Do you remember in Mad Men? This is compound interest.
Let's go, baby.
When Pete, towards the end, he was talking to Duck about like the promotion or the new job. He was like, on a graph, you would be up. Like you're going up right now.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that?
No.
At the end when he's working
He's talking to who?
Duck and Pete. Duck's talking to Pete.
Who's Duck?
Duck he was the head of accounts in like season 1. He had the dog Chauncey. He had.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go.
He was trying to get a job for Pete because he's like a headhunter,
Yes.
and he was telling Pete like, "You're on your way up. Like this is like if you're on the graph, you would just be up.
Yep.
And he's like drunk, and then Pete's like, "Shut up." But like,
I remember that.
but like that's like compound interest. Like Pete has been putting in that little bit of work forever and ever and ever and ever ever, and finally, like because of all that work, he hit that like that up point where he just bursts up in like magnitude, and that's like having he like got bought out from his contract for like millions of dollars. He gets to fly for free. He gets that like multi-million-dollar job that's like a million times better than his last job, and he got back with his wife after who like he cheated on 30 million times and 5 more times than that. And then that's like compound interest, like that little bit of work you put every day. That's Pete. Like he eventually got that little 1% of work over 10 years. It got to 5,000%, and then it finally broke through.
Yep.
That's what that is.
It is. And it's the long game, man. It's what everything is technically. Like, you might think that Drake is, or sorry, let me take it back. You might think Kanye is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't know is
He
that
spent 3 summers making 5 beats a day,
as the legend goes.
as the legend goes. And
He
probably
put-
more than that, honestly.
Yeah. Like, he puts in a tremendous amount of work. So even if he was a musical genius, compound that with that he actually puts in work.
Uh-huh.
And that's the scary part.
I think it's because today, TikTok and the likes, you could be that level of fame overnight.
Right.
Of an overnight celebrity, if you will. Twist the...
No, I know. I was trying to think of something smart to say, but you
Never.
said-
Not you.
Oh.
Come on.
I was listening to... Okay, this is the thing I want to say. I was listening to Overnight Celebrity, and it's so different from Kanye's production style, like, currently, that I'm like... Sure, but...
It's not even replaceable. I can't. Go.
It was just amazing to hear. I'm like, wow, that's called evolution,
Yeah.
baby. Like, forget Charles Darwin. Hello, Kanye West.
All right. Let's...
Like, we've seen the scale, right? From ape to man. How about Overnight Celebrity to Yeezus?
Let's just put in the work, and then...
You can clip that and put that on Instagram, baby. I got him all day. Exactly.
A soft one for the
After that,
the late night vibes.
we should have a post
What?
after show, the late show with Adrian and Ivan. I was like, we wear suits, we smoke cigars, we drink whiskey. Did you have another point about that?
No.
Okay. I assumed you forgot. I was banking on you forgetting, so there it is.
You know me.
Clever thing that McKay did was use the narrator in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
where he's like, he's sort of important to the plot in a way,
Mm-hmm.
where the narrator is the guy that ends up giving his heart to
Dick Cheney.
because Cheney becomes ill, needs a heart transplant, and it's another layer to show sort of how Cheney is cold-hearted in the way that he refers it to the heart as his heart and not the guy that gave him the heart. The donor's heart.
Yeah.
And then there's the scene where they show that
Jeez.
Cheney shoots his friend,
Oh yeah.
and his friend ends up apologizing.
That's the power I want. Where you slap someone, they're like, sorry for being in your way.
That's called money, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine having that much money.
It's called power, baby.
Let me just text our mother and tell her I'll call her back because she called me.
Classic.
What do you think she has to say to me?
I told her I was coming over here, so I don't know. It's not even that late.
Ivan, let's take a short break. It's award season. Time for the best scene of the movie, Ivan.
Okay.
I think the intro of Rumsfeld is immaculate.
Yeah.
Where they show Cheney meets Rumsfeld at this sort of conference that he's getting a job in Rumsfeld. He meets Rumsfeld after hearing a boring presentation from this boring politician. Rumsfeld comes up with so much pizzazz, played by
Steve Carell.
And it's just amazing. Like his energy, he brings it all. And then the montage that McKay plays as he's like, if there's a guy that's great with a butter knife, was it a butterfly knife? What is it?
Oh yeah.
If there's a guy that's great with a butterfly knife, it's Dick Cheney. Or like they compare him in some way with a butterfly knife. Rumsfeld. And I was like, this is what I signed up for.
He died like a week ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like coincidence.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird things about him that I didn't bring up, but yeah. Like 9/11 conspiracy theories type of stuff. Another great scene, Cheney influencing President Ford.
What?
So
yeah.
There's a scene where Cheney and Rumsfeld finally get like their foot in the door with President Ford after who gets assassinated? Is it our boy
JFK?
JFK? Is it? Anyway, President Ford becomes that shows you how much we don't know about politics. President Ford becomes president after someone gets assassinated. Assassinated. And Cheney now has the ear of President Ford. And they were saying like Cheney could influence anyone just the way he talked.
He has a way of making the most insane things sound sensible or something like that.
And they sort of did this comedy bit where he's like, we could just all be naked.
Yeah.
I forgot exactly what they said. Do you remember?
I don't even know what you would call that sort of like comedy, like the trope of that. Like it has to have a name.
Is that like a break in like
fourth wall break? Something?
Not a fourth wall, but like a breaking reality.
I don't know, but
Mind Stone.
It has to have a name, but it's cool to see, like, because it gives you an exact visualization of how convincing he is. Like we can stand outside with our balls out, and Ford's like, I like that idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just an exaggeration, but it's good.
Another great scene is when Cheney's like understanding the concept of unitary executive theory.
That like blew my mind because it's like he's right, but not like in a good way.
Right.
And it makes sense.
The idea is that there's a way for the president to basically have as much power as a king, have like overriding say on anything that goes. And he uses a montage showing like a bunch of kings, Hitler, I think he uses, or Mussolini, and Galactus from Marvel.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because he wants to make a Silver
Surfer
Surfer movie. Hey, baby. It's all coming together. The scenes where Cheney meets with President Bush, or who will be President Bush, are fun and hilarious.
Yeah.
I especially love the first scene where he first meets him in the office and he's like trying to understand why he's
like analyzing him.
And he does this thing where he looks at Bush and he's like, he just wants the approval of his father. In his head, he says that. And I'm like, woo!
Like with a look, he like teared down the man.
Yes.
He knew exactly who he was doing everything for.
Yep. I love that.
A real Knickerbocker. Where's that from? Mad Men. You're wrong.
Knickerbockers are the Knicks.
Is that like their original name? That's embarrassing.
It's funny how like you try to up me, and I upped you.
I mean, that's perspective. I feel like you downed me.
Hey guys, if you think I upped
No.
one person,
Adrian did.
and ultimately I like the final scene too, where the final meeting with him and the VP, basically cementing that he's gonna be VP as long as he gets all these different powers.
Mhm.
And Bush is like, sounds good to me.
That's pretty good.
Love it. Lifetime Achievement Award, Ivan. This award goes to the actor, director for reaching the pinnacle of their career. Ivan, does anyone in this film reach the pinnacle of their career?
Nah.
I don't think so either.
Nah. They're all good performances, but none of them are like.
I would say Bale's also like, we're going to go straight to MVP here, but I guess Bale's the MVP, but there's not much he's bringing, but I can't give it to Rumsfeld because, I mean, Rumsfeld's sort of like a cheat code, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the guy with so much energy is obviously going to steal everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like the scene stealer is sort of convoluted too. So the scene stealer award. This award goes to the actor, actress who was in the movie for 10 minutes or less, but almost stole the movie. Do you have anyone other than Rumsfeld? He's in it more than 10 minutes.
George Bush.
That could be it. How about Alfred Molina playing a fancy waiter at a restaurant?
Oh yeah,
Doc Ock himself.
Yeah.
In a great scene where he's explaining the menu.
That's the same thing again with the
Yes.
the Ford. Is that his name?
President Ford.
Same.
Sort of breaking reality and they have this meeting at a restaurant, fancy restaurant. Doc Ock is the waiter, and he's like, here's your menu. And then they're like, what would you recommend? And the menu is basically all the atrocities that they're going to break, all the laws they're going to circumvent with all the little niche things that they don't know. And they're like, we'll take them all. Great scene. And great scene. Ivan, let's rank this movie.
I give it.
Hold. Okay, go.
I give it a 7.9.
Really?
Yeah,
Damn, that's slow.
but not really.
Explain your thinking.
No.
You would say that.
It just didn't it was entertaining, it was good, but I don't know. It just didn't hit me as hard as any of the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm not supposed to compare it like that, but 7.9 is still good. That's an 8, but it's not an 8.
So for me, I sort of felt the same way as you did on entertainment basis, but as a
when the
how it resonated,
the stew of it
stewed in me.
The stew.
Stop sticking your stomach out. You're bothering me.
Stew of it all.
And the way it resonated after a week, the way it fermented in me, just
Stewed, perhaps.
For that reason, I'm gonna give it an 8.7.
You're a racist and a patriot.
That's what we all are, Ivan, as a good American.
Being an American is, honestly.
8.7. It's a movie that's not entertaining not extremely entertaining as a whole, but extremely important. And I think it's going to be an important movie for me.
Okay. Formative.
Okay. This is the last movie, latest movie from Adam McKay. We won't get any movie until later this year. But we're going to do Succession next.
We are?
We're going to do the first episode. We're just going to watch the first episode and do sort of like a mini episode.
That's also like a little political of like entertainment industry or TV industry.
It's everything.
The politics of it all.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting for the...
Tapped out.
Okay. So...
No.
So in the next episode, we'll talk about Succession and We'll talk about more things that McKay is up to and where he's going. And we'll also sort of do a little retrospective of what we think of him so far.
It's like he died or something.
No, he's still alive and kicking, even though he did have a heart attack during the making of this film.
Really? That's ironic.
It is.
You probably laughed at that, honestly.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, not at the moment, but...
Yeah. Like, like Joker or something.
Wait, why?
Like, that's what I imagine. Like, if Joker gets a heart attack, he would laugh.
Oh, yeah, he would definitely laugh. But McKay, you are not... You're working my... You're working me. Working me. What's the song?
Working me. Working.
That's you right now.
I think he's on a slippery slope of overly political.
You should be banned for the way you just enunciated.
Overly political. I feel like it's gonna like.
I think you're wrong.
Okay.
But I know what you mean.
Then can I say it for the people
No, I know what you mean.
who aren't
It doesn't
connected
matter
to
what-
my hip?
Go. Make it snappy.
Like the end of Black Klansman, it felt like a little too jarringly political.
Yeah.
Like obviously the message is correct, but I'm trying to have a little giggle and a little entertainment at the theater. I don't want to be told I'm hated by the black community while I watch, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm scared he's going to slightly taper into that. But his next movie is about global warming, so it's not like, I don't know. And it has like Leo.
But that's political. Like everything he's going to make from now on is going to be like true to life, I think.
But this one's more like with Vice, you had to really,
Biography.
yeah. So there's like a real person attached.
Right.
Global warming, like that's happening.
Gotcha.
Like at that point, he's just gonna do whatever he wants with the premise.
Okay, that'd be cool. So next he can do like Black Lives Matter, but with random people.
What does that mean?
Because like still political, still hot button issue, but he can still make.
I don't think he would though.
Obviously not, but for example,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
Or Jewish Lives Matter.
Is he Jewish?
No, he might be.
Okay.
People, what did you think about Vice? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you not like it? Did you not love it? Let us know in the comments below.
That rhymed.
Did it?
In a way.
They do call me the second coming of Lil Wayne. They say I have his effervescent humor.
He's not even known for being funny. Don't do it. Don't explode yourself, Adrian.
We'll be back next week with another episode of Peliculas with the Pros. Thank you for listening. If you've been listening to this whole episode, God bless you. Seriously. Please, again, if you can, rate, review, subscribe. Let us know what you think in the comments below. My name is Adrian.
My name is Ivan.
Peace out.
Bye.